Hello and welcome to Metamorphosis, your podcast for growth and transformation. I'm so happy to welcome my first English guest. It's Sonia. I just met her in Portuguese at my solo trip. And today we were speaking about um, face yoga and activate your face. It's the method from her. She will talk about this because I can't say the name, but she can. And so, welcome to my podcast, Sonia. I'm so happy that you're here.
Hello, Katharina. Thank you for having me. So we've just met literally a couple of weeks ago, but it feels like we've known each other for a while now. I'm very happy to be here and to share a little bit of what I do and how I come to do this with you today. Yeah.
Yes, beautiful. I will love that. First, I want to share our story because she's really, really special for me, and maybe the people who watch us will know why we connect instantly. So, we met at a bus which drives us from the airport, and I missed my bus because my German flight got late because of a storm, and so my first bus was I missed it, and I had to book a new one, and I let it book from a staff member at the airport, and I thought he booked a direct bus like I did online, but he didn't. So I was at the bus, and Sonia sitting next to me and watched her astrology chart, right? And I
Yes.
instantly have the gut feeling to talk with her because I love these topics. And I said, "Oh my God, I love astrology." And we instantly dived totally deep in. We talked about human design, inner healing, and the work you do. And we were like in a total different world and talked and talked. And as the bus stop, you asked me, don't you have to change the bus if you want to go to Nazaré? And I was like totally confident. No, no, it's a direct bus. But my gut feeling told me that I have to show you my bus ticket. And I showed you. And of course, it was the station where I literally had to change. And you were like, oh, you need to go out here. So you were literally a
Yeah.
guardian angel on the earth because I would have been I don't know where in Portuguese, don't know the language, and have to buy another ticket. And maybe even there will be no bus, which brought me to Nazaré. So you rescued me by talking to the bus drivers. And because you speak fluent Portuguese, they also made sure that I arrived safe. So the bus driver told me, you can sleep. I will wake you up as soon as we are in Nazaré, and he really checked on
Yeah.
me, and it was just the start of which Portuguese is for me: kind-hearted, open, lovely, always friendly. And so yes, you're my guardian angel, and that's how we met.
Yeah. Yes, it was very curious how we met because I had just come from a training in Paris, and this was the first time actually that I made sure that I would take public transport, both
Mhm.
for going to the airport and coming back. So it was actually like a conscious decision. Now this time I'm going to take the bus. I'm not going to take the car and so on. So I'm just going to take all the public transportation, and that's why I was in that bus that day. And and then I was looking at this astrologic chart because I signed up for this masterclass on human design and things like that, and I couldn't figure out some house that she was talking about. So I was going through an instruction video on how to read your astrologic chart, and you immediately said, "Oh, I love astrology," and I was like, "Oh." And I was with my phones on, right? I was like, "Oh, yeah, so I don't understand much." And then we started chatting about that and what it meant, everything, and it was really, we just instantaneously connected, and yeah, and I got to just share with you a bit of my journey, which is, I guess, what we're going to do here as well today. and really just share with everyone that is listening to us how our life can unfold into a better path, and that is actually the right path for us, even though we don't not always see that, or we feel a bit afraid of taking the next step. But yeah, it's very important just to listen to our intuition and to trust it, and take small steps towards our life, towards our vision, towards what makes us happy always.
Totally. Oh, I love that you say that because that's what my podcast is about. And I want to give people some insights of what could happen if you listen to your gut feeling, or what could happen if you start healing and change something. And I love that you um, share a bit of you. And even though just the little decision of taking the public transport instead of the car, it's just a tiny thing, and you may don't know what for you do it, but you do it anyway, and then something magical happens. And yes, it felt like you and I met before in another life, and our soul said we will meet again, and when the time is right. So this is really, and of course that you are from Paris, that you just came from Paris, because Paris is a special city for you too, right?
Yes. So for those who are listening, so my background in
Yeah.
terms of I'm going to say education, and even my bringing up was always very, I'm going to say, logical, and I took the scientific path. Okay, so I'm a scientist by training. I did biochemistry, then I did the research, then I moved on to do my PhD. And while I was still in college, I did Erasmus for 6 months in Paris. This was back in 2006.
Wow.
So, and that was the last time I was in Paris before I got back last year in a completely different persona, let's say, or like in a completely different role. So it's almost I'm not going to say opposite, but it feels like the opposite, because when we are deep into research, and we many times we are completely disconnected from us, because we are so objective, and we are so driven into discovering something outside of us,
Yeah.
that we lose touch from ourselves. And so it was very interesting how 18 years after I came back to the place where I started working, in a way, because it was a training more towards the end of the course, so it was a more of a professional training, and I came back as a different professional person working on the self-care. And I always feel like Paris is home. That was the first city I lived on my own, literally, with not even sharing a room with anyone. I lived there for 6 months. It was a completely new city, so I had to adapt to many things. Especially, I remember that it was also the first time that I was in contact with so many cultures, with so many people from different countries. And even though I thought, picking up what you said earlier, that I was Portuguese, so I'm always welcoming and I'm always warm and so on, but I was confronted with different ways of living and
Yeah.
different social ideas. Okay, so and Paris is that city. So yes, but I always feel like it's home, because I guess I just grew a lot during those 6 months, and I love Paris, but then I always have this feeling, okay, Paris is the city of light and ideas and power thinking and possibilities, and I like that kind of energy. But then I also like to come back to my place. I live in the countryside, literally, here in Portugal, and just come back to the birds chirping in the morning, to my cats, to planting tomatoes, and just being outside. So yeah, and I was coming back from a training, international training, on how to use a tool, which is called Face Pointer. And it's a Japanese tool that was developed to release tension, deep tension in the fascia, this beautiful tissue that we have that hold us, and also release tension from the muscles themselves. And that's very important in terms of the face and our body as a whole. But specifically, I work with the face, so it's very important to release the tension so that we can express ourselves fully, and actually be able to use all our expressions in our face that in turn connect us to ourselves, really, and they communicate internally. So the facial expressions have the power to generate emotional states. And actually, when we are not engaging in any activity, it's the state of our face, how we hold our faces, that really communicates internally how we feel. Like if we are just sad, or if we are happy or neutral or whatever, but it really is how the face is whole that communicates that.
Yes, totally, totally. That's a thing we say in Germany. Your mind can't figure out if you are just making it up in your head. So if you're thinking about the worst case scenarios and your mind, your face literally goes, oh my God, scared. And it's for your nervous system, like you already experience it. It can't say, oh, she just thinks about it. No, it's for the nervous system, like we experience it. And that's, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, which get saved in our face if we do this a lot. If we are people who worry a lot, who are always like overthinking, and it's like in our DNA and in our face, of course, the tension, you can see literally if a person worry much or if she is on her right path.
Yeah, so I call it patterns. So we build up these expression patterns throughout our lives.
Yeah.
Okay, and they represent the most frequent state that we are in. And that happened to me when I realized that. So I was working in a startup company when I came about with face yoga. Okay, and at the time it was a very stressful year, lots of changes, and I saw face yoga and I thought, oh, this is interesting. Although I was very suspicious about it, because I was like, okay, now they invented yoga for the face. I mean, like, but then it got my curiosity, and I started, okay, stretching the face and doing some postures and exercise, and I felt good. And something that changed, and this was like within 2 months or even less, was my kids. They were very small. They were, at the time, they were 3 and 5, and they looked at me like smiling. They were smiling more back at me. And I noticed that because I felt like there was more warmth coming back at me. And then they actually expressed it. Oh, you're smiling. I do want to play with me or anything. So I got more engagement from them, and I was more engaged. Okay. And it had to do with my face, how I hold my face. Because then my husband told me, yes, because you used to come home with your face closed and just answering yes or no. Because you see, I spent the whole day in the work, chatting, blah, blah, etc., working. And then I just came home and just blocked. I just shut down, literally. And by shut down is really our expressions, our face, and our energy as well. Yeah. And so I started to open up. That was what really got me into going deep in face yoga. And then in next year, which was the year of the pandemic in 2020, I also felt like an urge of quitting. I already had decided in my mind that I was going to quit that job, but I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do next. And I had this calling, literally, I dreamed about this. that I should give in my resignation letter on the date of my birthday. But this was very, very strong information. And for a scientific person like me, it was like, but it doesn't make any sense. Why would I quit on that date? It's not even good for the accounting, you know, then it will mess up all the dates. And so it's easier if I just quit at the end of the month because it's easier for everyone. But I just had this message coming back. It's on your birthday date. And I had to do it literally physically. I printed out and I signed it and I gave it in on my birthday date.
Wow.
Right.
I love that.
This was the first time that I thought, okay, maybe there's something else. Oh, well, I don't know. There's my unconscious mind is trying to tell me something.
Yeah.
And then I moved on to go deep into face yoga, and just to explain that we have patterns that we develop that we are not even aware that interfere with our relationships. This is very important. And I see that in my classes as well. When I start with a new group, people are their faces are closed up. We close up. And then I ask, how did you like the class? Are you okay? Like the introduction. Then they open up. But they don't realize that they were up to that point. They were completely out. It's like they're not even there. Recognizing that and becoming aware of it is the first step, I would say.
Oh my gosh, I love that you say that because I want to share a story of mine, literally after Portuguese, because I was there 10 days and it was a really, really deep spiritual and growth experience. I met a lot of people. And the first day I met a Portuguese woman in a cafe. She will also come in my podcast because she has also a really, really huge story. But and the last day, her eyes light up and she said, "Oh my God, you're radiant. Now you're looking Portuguese." And I was like, "Thank you. I'm feeling like it." And she said, "All the tension from Germany is gone." Because as I go to as I booked this trip, I was at a state of mind which I was at a breaking point and didn't know what to do. I felt like I'm about to break down completely and I need to do something. So, and then I came back to Germany and I know that it would be different to come here because here nothing changed. The energy is the same and I experienced a lot of warmth, of love, of sharing. And it at the plane, I was like crying because I don't want to go back because I know Germany is very, I talked with you about it, I guess, because many people ask me how is Germany and I would say it's very fear-based and guilt-based. So Germans are very, fear-based. So and that's even the Germans I met in Portuguese, they were all like, "Oh my God, you're traveling alone. Aren't you scared? I wouldn't do that." And I was like, "I didn't ask for your opinion, but okay." And as I came back, I manifest that I will stay in this state no matter the energy. And I was like, okay, I'm hosting a healing workshop when I come back, and I did it. And after that, I always do the grounding, go to the forest. And I met a lot of Germans there, and it was so interesting because now that happened what you experience with your kids, because they are like in their own world, in their hustle and in a rush, always in a rush. I don't know, like German people are always in a rush. They're always like they are going to be too late, or I don't know. And I was just smiling, nothing more. And it happened. You can always watch 3 states. The first state was shock because why is she smiling like that? And you see that their mind is racing about what happened. Do I have something in the face? Why does she smile like that to me? And they are like, "Oh," but I stay in this energy of warmth, open heart, I would say.
Yeah.
And then they start smiling subconscious. They don't realize that they're smiling back. And then I smiled even wider, and they all started laughing. So really bright and like a little kid. And it was like, I understand now that that's something I experienced in Portuguese. I met many people who don't speak English, who don't speak German, but we connected because energy is the language of us. So you always know, is the person honest? What intention do you have? And when it comes from love, you will connect no matter how. So I guess that's what happened with the people, that the energy told them, no, I don't smile at you because you have something in your face. I don't smile at you because I have some background intention. I just smile because I'm happy and I want to say hello. So, and that was, I love that you told that with your kids, because I think it's happened the same. And I didn't do face yoga, but I did do healing a lot of trauma that is based in my body, and which changing the outcoming too, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, expressions are contagious. You can be the light in that group, and you can lighten up everyone around you. You really need to work that in yourself. I mean, why and be comfortable in smiling.
Yeah.
There are so many people that I've come across that are not comfortable smiling or even touching themselves. We have an exercise in face yoga which is called pick me up, and it's just about opening the face with the hands, like we said, from the forehead, and you go through the back of the head, through the neck, and we just like we just massage, but it's like just very light, and we smile as we go through with our hands, and it's very uncomfortable for many people to do this. And so, yeah, that's because I mean, face yoga, and for those who are listening, was maybe they've heard about face yoga and the connection with anti-aging and wrinkles and so on. And it's true that many people will first meet me because they want to change something in their faces.
Mm-hmm.
And then they realize that it's really not about changing, it's just unlocking.
Yes.
Unlocking what's there already.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to fix anything.
Yeah.
We literally have our beautiful being beneath this cape, this thing that we wear every day. From my experience, from my work, that it's important not only to absolutely rewire your mind and your thoughts, but also physically help unblock that.
Totally.
And I'm telling you this because I've had people that are masters at meditation, yoga, and all these practices. And when I do small exercises like open your mouth slowly, they have pain in the side, in the masseter. They can't quite open the mouth because it will unlock the articulation anyway. And so those are all signs that there's a lot of things stored in that face. Okay, and that is a block for everything else as well. So yeah, and I usually say that we experience the world with our faces, because if we stayed the whole time neutral, we couldn't figure out the world around us. There's no way, no way. Even if we use our senses, the vision, the smelling, the hearing, if we don't express it through facial expressions, our brain would have no way of knowing how we feel and how we interpret that we collect, the information that we collect with our senses. It's fascinating for me to study the face, and especially from this perspective, and how then that impacts the emotional states. Then we can go back to the patterns that we have in our faces, because our faces are just a mirror of what we experience frequently on a daily basis, and we can make a choice. Something else that some people sometimes tell me is that, oh, when I ask to do let's smile, and they're not used to smile freely and authentically, because there's a difference between, you know, smiling just for social or political purposes, as I say it, like, or really smiling like a child, you know, like a child smiles. She smiles and you see the top bottom teeth open up, okay, and the cheeks go up and the eyes go small. That's smiling.
Yes, yes. Would
And
you say that children smile and express themselves different because all the experience didn't change them yet? So the older we get, the more experience we have, the more sentence which we told ourselves how we have to be or not have to be. Is that something why you would say children could express themselves better?
yes, if they express themselves genuinely, right,
Ye-
and authentically, there's this barrier, internal barrier, like, oh, I'm doing something wrong, or I'm doing something that is not up to the standard of being an adult.
Yes.
So it's like we don't give permission to ourselves to smile freely. And because of that, the first reaction, the first comment I get is, oh, it's like I feel like I'm faking it. I feel
Oh,
like I'm faking my my smile. And I
mhm,
just try to get them to really overcome that thought
mhm,
and
mhm,
let the body, in this case the face, but it's the whole body, just smile, okay,
mhm.
and get used to that feeling again. Because we tend to forget also, that's something else that I noticed, is that we tend to forget how it feels to do some sort of expressions, and mostly that actually they feel good, and that we are allowed to feel good. That's the whole purpose of being alive
Yeah,
and on earth.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, the part with the allowed is really important, I guess, because many people are like, I'm not allowed to feel this way. So it's funny that you say that because this was what happened this weekend. If something shifts, like I had one client which haven't cried since 28 years, and the sadness popped out and she was crying a lot. I thought she may never stop again. And after that, she felt the peace and she was like totally confused. She looked around and I was like, you're not used to it, right? And she was like, I don't think that this is safe. So they always think it will come back again. The sadness will come back again, and so I may not allow me to feel this because what happened if it overroll me like a new wave? And I guess that's what happened when they feel like they fake it and they're allowed to be happy, that they are afraid it could come back again. And that's our responsibility because we have to practice it every day so it becomes natural to us. If we just do one yoga lesson with
Yeah.
you, then of course it will come back. Or if we just do one healing, of course it will come back because the next topic show up or something on the world around us happened. And yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to me, the face yoga practice, which at its most objective level is just a set of exercises and breathing and massages and so on, and postures. But really, what that does to our inner state and what it unlocks is really powerful. I'm going to share a bit how it changed my my path and even me as a person, or at least not how it changed, but how it unlocked again. Because again, if we look at the astrological point of view and human design, we will understand that it's already there,
Yeah.
but you need sometimes you need some trigger, or the life will provide that trigger. That's
Yeah.
how I feel it. And back in 2020, so it was a pandemic. I did the course online. It was almost 6 months. I had quit my job. Then I had my older daughter in this case, going to primary school. So there was a lot of changes, and we were also building a house. We have a business that we opened recently, a medical clinic, because my husband is a doctor. So I was managing all of that, and I was thrilled about it. Again, I was in my element, because I like to do many things at the same time, and manage and have these ideas and so on. And then something got me. So in December, during Christmas week, my mother she went to the hospital, to the ICU with COVID. And my grandmother, which was the mother of my mother, okay, who raised me for many years, also went to the hospital. So my father was alone, because they lived all together in this city, which is 1 hour from me, where I live now. And I couldn't be there with him, because I had 2 kids, because we couldn't be with each other because of COVID restrictions, etc. And then on January 8th of 2021, I got a call from the hospital saying that my grandmother had passed away. But my mother was still in coma induced. So they induced her in coma for safety reasons. So she wasn't awakened yet. Yeah. When she woke up a few days afterwards, so you have to imagine that my mother went to the hospital with my grandmother feeling all right. Yes. And she woke up from a coma. She's gone. Now I was the one that told her that her mother and my grandmother had passed away. And this was like a really shifting moment, because I'm this person that is very driven, that always in one project, and at that point there was just that's all there was in my life. It was the 2 most important people in my life were had their lives threatened, and one of them had already passed away. So it was really, really difficult to manage. And face yoga was the thing that held me for many months, because then I was still 1 hour drive away. So then my father took care of my mother. She came home, all the rehabilitation, everything. And I had to stay here as well, because my kids were now having school at home. And I remember in January doing a video on Instagram, just saying, look, this happened to me. I don't know how everyone else is doing, but I'm going to do some face yoga classes. If anyone wants to learn or spend time just doing something for ourselves that helps us go through this. And that's really, now looking back, those 2 classes I gave during the week, one on Wednesdays evenings and on Sundays early morning, it was at 8 a.m. I did the class, really saved me and helped me and the whole group of women that came together. Because if it wasn't for that commitment and that 1 hour that I was there just nurturing myself and nurturing the others and guiding that environment, it would have been really difficult. Really difficult. So that's why I see face yoga as I'm going to say, as a healing tool in a way, because it literally helped me to overcome, to navigate one of the toughest and more challenging phases of my life. And then since then I didn't stop. Then it started growing, and and I always link it to the memory of my grandmother, because in November 2020 I did my first ever live, like on the internet, which is something completely that I would never think I would do if I looked at Sonia years ago. And my grandmother called me saying, "Oh, you did so well. I didn't know you could do that." It was and those were the last words that I remember her telling me about face yoga and about what I was doing now, and with no judgment. Because you see, I quit a job that was regarded as the the better job that I could have, coming from a scientific background. And even if I quit, I could get another one similar to that one, so I should be reaching for that. But she didn't judge me. She actually congratulated me and helped me view that myself as a person that could do it. And that was the trigger point that put me on this path, and that now I can teach others and mentor others and so on. So yeah, sometimes out of the most difficult situations, it's really when we find our call and our purpose. And still, I mean, it wasn't instantaneously. It was like, okay, I got myself that strength. I was holding to that light, and it was still all very, very blurred. I can tell you that only then in 2023, something like that, it started to clear up. And for 2 years, I was just giving classes and doing this and that, and I was in between. So it was still very blurred, but I kept going, and always guided by, okay, this makes me happy. This makes me, I can see the good I can bring in the people, even if they are a small group. It doesn't matter. That's another conversation, which is sometimes we in this internet area, right, and social area, we think that we need to impact millions, hundreds of persons at once. No, it's really not about that. It's actually seeing the changes in few people around us, and that will grow by themselves. And I started to realize that that's important, because again, I was coming from an environment where we were supposed to impact millions. A startup company is supposed to grow, beyond millions, billions. So to come from that, to realize and acknowledge and realize that impacting a few people has the same importance, literally, than impacting millions. It takes a radical shift in our mindset and our way of thinking. But so it's just to say that it's possible to really change areas of work and become good at other areas of work, even finding out that you're better at something else. That happened to me as well. I found out that I love being with people, which was something that I couldn't quite imagine a few years ago. So just wishing everyone that is listening to us to listen to your call, really listen to that small voice. And if it makes you happy, then you should go for it.
Wow. I'm speechless. I'm tearing up a bit because it reminds me of my story too. And no matter with how many people I talk, they always say the same, that you can't figure it out all at once. So like you said, you were like in a plural. You just figured out the way. But everyone has a little guardian angel, like your grandma. Like, I think it was really important to hear that from her before. I think when I'm listening to you, you do it somehow for her again. So like you're connected to her in a way and want to make her proud.
I guess.
I'm getting so emotional into this. And as you said, your most difficult time can be your calling. And that's my last sentence in my podcast. And that we think what's the end of our journey is the beginning of something really important and something huge. And if someone listened to this, that they just use the examples of the podcast people who are here to feel more calm. Because when it's stormy and the emotions overwhelm us, then we get scared and do sometimes decisions out of fear, make it harder for ourselves. I hope that when people listen to us, that they will use your story, my story, to just breathe in what happens and let it come up. And then the guidance will come. It will be maybe a person who says something to you, or a little thing like a gut feeling that is not quite logical for your mind, but you have a feeling of, I have to do this, like with Portuguese. It for me it was like, why? I don't have much money saved, and how do I do this? But I know I had to do. Now I know why. but before I didn't know, and I had to do it scared. So do it scared, do it anyway, go on. Just like you said, I was like going on and on and on. And that's the difference between a winner and a loser is that a winner is a loser who was always standing up again and try once more, just once more sometimes. So yes.
Yes, I think in my case personally, the biggest struggle throughout these years was letting go of this idea of judgment.
Yes.
Again, because I was holding to this idea that I was expected to be someone else doing something else,
Yeah.
for which I had studied so much. So I had to let go of this. Now I recognize that in many other people that I come across, right? And I try to just gently be a reminder that, you can let yourself experience other things. And it doesn't have to be black and white and one day is this and the next day is that. It's not that. For example, I still feel and see myself as a scientist. I always say, yeah, I will be a scientist for forever, because that was where I come from. Because why? Because I'm curious. That's mainly my identity. And now the difference is that now I allow myself to listen to some gut intuition, and I pay attention to it before I put all the logical stuff and pros and cons on top of it. No, first I listen to that and I let myself guide through that. And then, of course, when I have to make big decisions, I will analyze it in some way. But one thing that changes is that when I analyze things, is that I always put in the pro that gut feeling. That counts as a plus. It's not neutral anymore, and that will help to steer the direction. Yeah, that has been my learnings, and I still have lots of learnings and lots of challenges ahead, but that's okay. I'm looking forward to it now. It's like it's completely different state, and it doesn't mean also that you will not experience sadness or disappointment or whatever. That is all part of life, and we will experience that over and over again. That's okay, because that's actually the only way that we have, that our inner system has, in a way, to tell us, okay, it's not this way, it's the other way. So let's get back to the path. It's normal. So yeah.
Can you, for the listeners who never heard about face yoga or the method, can you say the name?
Yes, so basically I have built a framework which I called Ativa Teu Rosto, which is the name of my brand. And in English it means activate your face or wake up your face, in a way. And it basically combines face yoga, acupressure, breathing exercises, face posture, and all of this acts on recognizing the patterns that we hold and the tensions that we hold, recognizing the habits that have generated that. Okay. Then step 2, release. So recognize. Step 2, release all those tensions and also, beliefs that we hold on to. So it's always a mix of physical with mental. Then activate. Activate means physically means activating the muscles that are dormant. Also activate our inner will, will of wanting to live and to be in ourselves and to reconnect with our body. Then relax, which is the other side of activating. It's just relax, come to a equilibrium and just let go, and also have time to reflect on. And then the last step, I call it reprogram, which has to do with reprogramming in the physical state. It's our face posture. So install a new pattern. So we got rid of the pattern that didn't serve us, and we are going to install a new one. Okay. Until it becomes a habit, a second nature. Okay. But that will sustain this face that is activated and that is open-hearted, that is willing to express and communicate, and that is also willing to listen. So yeah, so it's a method that works on 5 steps: recognize, release, activate, relax, and then reprogram. And we do this both with our hands, and then I have these tools that I use in my appointments, which is specifically these Japanese tools from Corfit, which are called the face pointer, head driver, body driver, that work on specifically triggers to release tension. And so they are very helpful for the step of releasing, which is usually the limiting step to then really activate and reprogram and adopt new posture and new patterns of expressing ourselves.
Beautiful. I love that because that's also like in all other healing tools I know, they have like these 5 steps you say. I think they're all important because they build up on each other and you can't do one without the other. How long is this process of the 5 steps?
I have divided this, if I do a full mentorship, let's say, it's about 4 months.
Yes.
To really go up to the reprogramming and integrate it finally. But we start with small steps. So I usually hold classes that are half an hour to 1 hour per week. And then we have small rituals. I don't like to call it routines, but it depends on the person, what she prefers the term.
Yes,
But basically, just rituals on moments where they practice some postures or some exercises, like about 5 minutes or so per day. But this is ultimately, the goal is not to be bound to a routine, like, okay, so now I'm going to do my 5-10 minutes of face yoga every day. My view, I don't like that. I don't agree with that view because it brings another imposition, and that's not the purpose of this. The purpose is that you naturally, at the end of the process, you feel it. You know when your face needs to release, and you know when it needs to activate again. And you naturally hold a good face posture, which is a posture that where all the muscles are in equal or similar tension in a way. And that you hold a small smile, or at least you don't hold a downward smile.
Yes.
And you have like your eyes are more active. And this is just a feeling, just like they're slightly open, but it's just a feeling. They're not like, well, okay, shut down. It's just that you are activated, literally. And this becomes natural. So, and then the exercise or the postures, they come naturally because you feel it. So you know how to react to it in a way, and how to bring yourself to equilibrium again, basically. Yeah.
I love that. And when someone wants to start, so someone is listening to us and never heard about it before, but now he feel like, oh, I need to try this, but I don't know where to start. Where would you suggest to start for someone who is thinking about this first time?
Yeah, I mean, you can always contact me. So I also hold classes in English, although I don't advertise that much, but I do, and also in-person appointments in Portugal, in Lisbon and in Coimbra. We would start by I'm going to say self-evaluation, which is basically a questionnaire that I have where we bring up to the consciousness our habits and our ways. Okay, mainly our habits, so that we understand what we see in our faces, where it comes from. And we do a bit of conversation, because when I talk with the person, I immediately see how her face moves. And so I give feedback about that. And then we always start with releasing exercises, which means really releasing tension from the shoulders, from the chest, learning how to breathe, and adopting good face posture, which has to do with learning how to hold your tongue near the palate, and just how to hold a good face posture in terms of your head aligned with your spine, especially paying attention to the shoulders, to the alignment. Small things like that. That's the most important, because that will set up a good basis for than the other exercises, because even when we do actual face exercises, it's good to do them from a good posture and good breathing and knowing how to stretch and what to do when we stretch. So we always start by these small things, and we spend I'm going to say 2 to 3 weeks on these small details that are very important. And then we move up to some ritual, and then it can be personalized depending on the person, what she wants to work on, depending what's her goal. And this really means that I have different people. Some, they just want to be more expressive because they feel their face is too close.
Yeah.
And so they feel like they are misinterpreted. Others, okay, they want to improve some more aesthetic feature. That's everything is legitimate. The process for me, from my point of view, is that you cannot separate the health of the face from the aesthetic aspect of the face, or from the functional and communication aspect of the face. They are all interconnected. But these 5 steps help us to integrate it, so that becomes second nature, how we hold our faces and how we take care of them. Yeah.
Beautiful. What changes did you have seen and how they impact you?
The first one that popped up in my mind was a client I had a couple of years ago. Was one of the first ones. She was living alone because her husband worked a lot away from home, and she just wanted to have a moment to take care of herself and do a little bit of self-care, literally. And one day she just texted me saying, "Oh, my husband just noticed that I was smiling. He asked me why was I smiling? I hadn't even noticed this, so I'm actually smiling." And this on top of, she had told me that she just felt more lighter. Other comment on this was someone that goes for a walk every day, and I always try to help people to include these exercises or postures in their daily lives. Okay, and so this person that was walking every day, she just started to smile while she was walking, right? And just have her eyes open and look at the top of the trees, because I always talk about that, to exercise your eyes, look at the top of the trees and so on. And she said, yeah, every time now when I come back from my walk, I feel really, really lighten up. It stopped being, I have to go for 30 minutes a walk because, the doctor told me so, to I actually enjoy going to walk, and I come back more freely, more lighten up, and more happy. And the last one, this is a very recent one, and it comes from me using these tools that are really useful to release tension. It's from a client that has Bell's paralysis, so half of her face has been paralyzed for 2.5 years now. She deals with it okay, but this year she had her son's wedding. It was her son's wedding, and we met back in February. And she had already done many things, and nothing really changed a lot her face. And in our first session, we managed to unblock the corner of the mouth, which means that she doesn't drip the water anymore, or when she's eating everything. So that was a huge, huge, huge change. And then she also managed to recover sensibility from the temple area and from the area between the eye and the cheeks, because it happens in these cases that they lose sensibility. And this was like her face illuminated, and just from the feeling of it. And then she told me that all she wanted was to, be at her son's wedding without everyone watching her, and without her hiding her face while she was eating, or for the photography or something. Life-changing, because she managed to control a little bit more her face. She felt like she was more in control. And so she was more confident, and especially the eating part, because she came to me with her shoulders misaligned, because she would always try to hide her face while she was eating, so that no one around her would notice small details. And now she managed to, be more open about that. Just keep good posture, eating slowly at her rhythm, without now being able to really use the whole face. It's not equal, but still it's much better. So this helped her a lot. This was one of those cases that I felt like, yeah, this can be life-changing. And because of that, I'm now in the pursuit of showing my techniques to physiotherapists and doctors that work in rehabilitation specifically, because I truly think there is something more that we can do besides rehabilitating function alone, because that has been the main goal usually. But these people, there is this, you can call it aesthetic side, but it's really, it's genuinely her identity side.
Yes.
Because people lose their identity, you just don't express yourself anymore as you used to. And people keep asking, are you all right? And yes, I am, but I don't manage to do that well. So yeah, when we talk about face yoga, sometimes it gets just on the surface.
Yeah.
Because we are in this era of anti-aging and so on, but really it goes much deeper. It can affect lots of lives, and again, how people interact with each other and how they see each other, how they get back to their identity again, and be happy with that, with themselves.
Yeah. So you're right when you say it's a healing method.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because for a very long time I tried not to put myself in that word, or even therapy. And now this year I decided that I was going to call, and that's the name I have for my appointment, which is face therapy. Because truly is a combination of the physical part with some mental rewiring here that happens, and emotional rewiring. So it's therapy. They managed to get out of a negative state to a more positive one, and have tools that help them to maintain themselves there, or even when they go back, they can get out of it. So, and I guess that's healing. That's therapy, right? That's what it is.
It is. And if we talk about self-love and self-worth and living authentically, how could we do that without our face? So especially your client, which can't do it because of the paralyzing. So I think for her is it even more frustrating to hear that and know she can't do it like she wants to. And I guess that's the reason why I say it is totally a healing tool, because she got back her life quality again.
Yeah.
So it's not just about control, it's about feeling okay to life again. Because when something like this happened to, or I don't know, rough times, you have the choice to give up or to go on. And sometimes you just go on with your mind because you say, I have to, I don't know, because I have kids, I have to be strong for them, or I don't know, but you don't feel it inside. And then you embody the other parts of you. I think what you do is deep embodiment, because breathing, exercising, and so on. And suddenly the rest can follow, not just the mindset, but also the body. And that's so important. And I love that. And that's what I saw in many of my clients who did a lot of mindset work, and every morning they do a mindset call, and every evening they do journaling, and so, but they can't feel it. They just know it would be good for them, but something inside them is saved in the tension, like in your, what you said, the fascia. I think the name was fascia.
The fascia, yeah, it's the whole in the fascia, yeah.
Yes, or yes, and you can see it in their face that their smile especially is like a mask, like something you put on to survive. And to see that the expression come back and the embodiment follows, it's where true healing begins and manifests. So I love that, and you should really tell it like this because it is. In Germany, there are a lot of laws, so we can't say something like this if we don't have a doctor title. But I think in Portuguese it's a bit more calm. And from my perspective, I know it is healing. It is deep healing. It is like not just a short thing. It will affect your whole life because it's long term, because you do the basics which are all necessary to make it possible over years and not just for a short time.
Yeah.
Of course, the people have to do just don't have to stop. I think that will not be good, but that's with all of it. If you do sport and you build up the muscles and then you have an accident and do it anymore, your muscles will get weaker too. So you have to do the sport again. And so I think that's with it, with healing too. So I love that, and I'm totally with you. It is deep healing. It's not just healing, it's deep healing, and it's therapy, like you said. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Do you want to share something about your work I didn't know maybe about, or something you want the listener to know?
As a last message, maybe work on your awareness. Awareness is really important. Awareness brings us to the present moment and allow yourself to reconnect with yourself in that moment. I think that's the most important. And
Yeah, so this is already, I think, my last question. If we have a mantra, I always ask the people, do you have a mantra or one sentence you want to give to people who listen? So if they don't understand anything because they are German, but if you have one sentence, they can Google it.
I can share actually it's a sentence that came to me back in 2020 when I was actually starting the course on face yoga, which is in English it translates to activate your face, free your mind.
Yeah.
And the free your mind part is something that I'm starting to develop or go deeper into. But yeah, for me is activate my face. It helped me to just free my mind, to get out of my mind and get back into the body.
Earlier you said work on your awareness, and the free your mind is helping with that, to be more aware, more in the present moment.
Yes, exactly, yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. I hope some of my Germans understand it. I don't know how I will do it with the translation, but we will see. But first, I want to thank you so much, especially for sharing your personal story and your rough times. I always love when people do this because I think that's the stories that will help others who are in the same situation. Like I already thought of a client I have, which has the same similar story right now and don't know what to do. And so maybe she can listen to your story and you don't feel alone, right? You know other people go through the same and they made it. I will made it too. And not just made it, maybe it will grow my soul purpose or my thing I need to go, my path. And so I'm really, really honored that you felt safe enough to share this. And thank you a lot.
Thank you, Katharina. It was lovely to chat with you here. And yes, so we'll meet up next time and share your story as well. I want to hear it, but we will do it in maybe in my podcast. Why not?
Yes, I will love
that.
I'm easily up for it.
And thank you for listening, everyone that is listening. And yeah, have a great life ahead.
Yes, I wish the same. And always remember, every challenge you face is the chance of your greatest gift.